Welcome back to the desk, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Action Jackson here with Fuji and Humanist, and we've got our second semifinals for Europe coming right up. It's Gankstars Cerberus versus SK Gaming. If you think you know who's going to take this one home, don't forget you can vote in the Twitch chat by using the command !vote, followed by one of the two vote codes, either GSC or SK in this case. We'll be tallying up the results and showing them to you guys later on during the game. This should be an interesting matchup. I mean, SK definitely has been performing much better this week, and overall, I'd say the split, they've had a more consistent and solid performance.
Yep.
Gankstars, of course, they're in a great spot. They've already qualified for the World Championship based off of their performance yesterday, so they got to be feeling good coming into this game, too.
Yeah, I mean, they're going through and just kind of winning everything right now in the EU scene, which is pretty nice. Gankstars.
Oh, okay. So just be clear about who we're talking about here.
Gankstars, the team with the most points right now. The team now qualified to go to Worlds has to be on a pretty high as they come into today's matches, feeling really
the highest of highs you'd imagine coming into this one. And you said Leon will be playing today.
Yeah, we actually heard that Leon is going to be playing. Gankstars have mentioned that they want to give him an opportunity to play before Worlds because he can't actually attend the Worlds. And you know, to be fair,
for him, then.
Well, also I think Leon is a very strong member of that team, and it's unfortunate that he can't go to Worlds, but some of the most success that Gankstars has had this season in Europe has been with Leon, so it makes a lot of sense.
In my mind, the most impressive success they've had was with Net in there, and the lineup that is going to Worlds. I love Leon. I think he's a great player, but just all of that baggage that was going along with it made it a little tough to digest at times. I'm curious, though, if who he's replacing in here. If it could be Iraqi, that maybe we see Leon go into a core position, and that's where we kind of like to see him in that playmaking position.
That's actually pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing Leon back on some carries.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch him execute on those picks. I mean, we did see the most important games, some of the final games wrapping up with Net, which I definitely like. But some of those early round games, though, we had to have Leon come in after the underperformance in Game 1 to really kind of reverse sweep. And it happened twice, 2 weeks in a row. So nice to know at least Cerberus has a little bit of flexibility there.
That's right. We're in EU right now.
We're in EU.
Don't misspeak here. And let's not talk about Gankstars the whole time. They got an opponent called SK here. Pretty talented folks. This is the most stable that this roster has been over like the last 3 or 4 seasons almost. Raf, 8-Slip, Jetpacks, they've been playing very well. I mean, Jetpacks, he was out of the scene for a while. He had school, work, all that stuff. He wasn't able to compete.
Speaking of rosters, let's break those down for you guys real quick before we hop into the draft. We've got Gangstar Cerberus up first, Tetno, JJ, Net Toilette, Arakizora, Leon, Aeon, and the Great Kali. Today, it looks like Leon, Net Toilette, and Tetno JJ are going to be the starting roster, as we mentioned before. They're playing up against SK Gaming. We've got Ageslip, Cream, Jetpacks, Raf, and Bayou.
You know, I'm really kind of liking the fact that SK, as we're closing out this season, has really come back onto the map. It gets me really excited for what they're going to be able to accomplish over the next kind of off season before we actually start next year in 2017, and some of the competitive play and some of the unique things they're trying to stick with. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The Dragonblood contract pickup that Jetpack seems to have fallen in love with over the past few weeks.
But you know, okay, I mean, at the same time, we got to keep this going, but it's innovative, and I like it.
No, I mean,
maybe he's just struggling to get out of the contract. You know, when you sign it, you're stuck.
He's like, oh, contract? I can do this.
All right, we're ready for the draft, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Gankstars, Cerberus, and SK Gaming playing in our second semifinals for Europe. Who's going to make it to the finals for this final week of the Evil 8 for autumn season? Looks like Gankstars banning away the Lyra to kick things off.
Yeah, with Lyra coming off the board, there's not going to be any cheeky lane harass coming through from Cerberus or SK.
Leon wants that free lane.
He does. He's like, guys, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
I need a little help up here.
No harass.
Give me some support. But not seeing it on SK is actually something that's interesting left. We haven't really seen Jetpacks prioritize Lyra at all in the draft phase. He tends to prefer the Lance. He prefers the Arden. So we'll have to see which one he ends up with. Gankstars Cerberus going to pick up this Lance.
Tetno loves this Lance pick. I mean, obviously, Net plays it as well, but when I see the Lance right now, I'm thinking Tetno. I think he just plays it better than almost anyone right now.
Could be Leon in the lane, just saying.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be. Most likely.
Maybe we'll see Leon take Ozo into the lane too. You never know.
Well, so Tetno used to actually be a laner before he joined Gankstars and kind of transitioned and started practicing very heavily to become the jungler there, as Arakizora was the primary laner at the time. But the Saw ban has me thinking that maybe SK knows that Leon or Techno's been practicing this pick.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely don't want to have to deal with that. They do pick up the Adagio, denying that away from Cerberus. And what they close out this first round draft for themselves. The Kestrel is always a good pickup, strong poke.
Like it into the Lance, typically.
Yeah, you definitely see a lot of flexibility coming from this too. It could be an Adagio in the lane, or it could be a jungle. Not quite sure yet, but the Celeste pickup I do like a lot from the Gankstars here. Strong front line with Lance, Celeste able to sit on the back line, do a ton of damage to Adagio, and Kestrel, because they cannot get away from those Helios if you're accurately landing them. They have no mobility, really.
Gangstar Cerberus with a low Fuji lineup here.
Oh, we've seen this composition succeed well. We've seen it fall pretty flat, so seems to be a lot of weight on the front line being able to coordinate those stuns. And SK says we're going to pick up something slippery, something that might be able to dodge out some of this engage.
We saw Vox crush this comp yesterday at one point because he was able to isolate Celeste.
Specifically, Iraqi Zoro playing Vox against this comp yesterday. Avalanche played the comp. We're now seeing Gankstars running. And Iraqi did some work with the Breaking Point Monocle build, I believe, that he was using on Vox. But he also did really well positioning. This is all about positioning. When you're up against a stun from Catherine and stuns from
You get locked
Lance,
down with that combo, you're toast.
Don't do it. Get your reflect boxes ready, boys and girls.
Do it, boys.
What are your predictions heading into game one?
I have to say Gangstar Cerberus is going to take the game, but it's going to be pretty exciting either way.
I'm going to go with SK on this one. I think SK are thirsty.
All right, let's find out who's going to win and move forward to the finals for this series. We're going to hand it on over to our shoutcasters, Dr. Sona and Tasty Bacon.
Thank you very much, you complicated sharks on the analyst desk. As they say, I am Sona and I am joined by Tasty Bacon. It's Gangstar Cerberus versus SK. SK who looked absolutely delectable yesterday.
I actually just heard in my ear our producer having to repeat to the desk what you just said. So I can just imagine the level of confusion on their faces to try and figure that one out. But for now, it is going to be Gankstars taking on the side of SK. And as was mentioned, Leon in the lineup for today, as Gankstars wanted to give him perhaps final hurrah. They actually saw them mention on Twitter that, because next year they're going to have to they can only have one team under their organization. And so as they don't know who they're going to stick with, if they end up staying with Gangstar Sirius in North America, that means that it will be very likely the last game Leon could play, or the last day that Leon could play for Gankstars as an organization. So very nice to see them giving Leon that final, send-off here, perhaps, into this last day of the Evil 8.
Yeah, Leon's always been one of the sort of standout performers who has never made a live championships or will make worlds just because of his age at the moment. Raph is going to get caught out and Leon's doing work already, looking for the chase on towards that box. Might be able to take him down, will be able to Sonic Zoom away. Now SK trying to get the flank off, but they do realise that Techno's coming in as well. The Impale onto AIDS that perfectly placed into the Githia wall. And it's another kill. There's the core collapse. It's going to be 2 quick kills here. Only 2 minutes in, Gangstar Cerberus take the lead.
And that's the kind of plays that Leon makes all the time. He is a very dynamic player and has a lot of impact in really any game that he is in. Raph going to be finding that out as well, as Leon is actually just trying to solo him out there. But with Aidslit coming back, he does have to back off a bit here. We'll see if he tries to contest this Treant. Of course he will, and he takes it away.
Leon with the manly plays. You have to be manly when you're playing Nether Knight Lance. Like, you just got to man up. If you've got a shield that big and you've got this massive long pokey stick as well, you kind of have to be manly when you want to make these
Pokey
plays.
stick.
Leon's going to look for jetpacks, misses the Impale off towards the side. Techno JJ's doing a good job of just pushing up this lane and keeping Wrath and Aidslip interested. But basically, Gangstar Cerberus have just taken the entire SK jungle for themselves.
I think that needs to become a Lance skin. Just call it like low budget Lance and just have him literally have like a stick in one hand and like just because it's so large, like a mattress in the other.
A stick and like a manhole cover.
That would be amazing. SCMC, get on it. You've got your next skin idea. But for now, they are going to be having a bit of a fight here. Leon actually getting dropped very low.
That he is. Wrath low as well though, and Gankstars look more like they're ready for a fight than SK do. They're slightly ahead, 6 sins already on Leon as well, with triple weapon blade as well. Net Toilette bouncing some damage back. Here comes the damage onto Acelip though, and that's a very dead Kestrel. No way you can active camo out of that.
What a roller coaster of emotions for Aidslip there, being like, okay, we almost got this kill. I just did so much damage to Net Toilette and I'm dead. Like, that is a very, very quick kill. Leon having a lot of damage early on. We did get the fan vote in, and, well, Leon, I think, being in the roster definitely helps this vote, but even just without him, I think it would have been similar. 83% of you feel like Gankstars Cerberus are going to take this series.
And it would not surprise me. Gankstars being consistently one of the best teams in Europe this split. And
they've won 2 weeks in a row.
Have proven time and time again that they are a great compositional lineup to work with. Now, Leon's looking to put some pressure onto Raph once again. Will knock him back with the Githian Wall. Does have Impale as well. Has to be cautious, though, because Raph can trade into him. Dodges out the Impale, and that will be Leon falling for the first time this game. Net Toilette will chase Raph underneath the turret, but not going to be able to do too much more, and in fact will fall himself as well. SK turning the tables and get themselves a double.
And they are going to pick up that double kill. Leon just a little over-aggressive there. Hadn't been to the shop in a bit. And just didn't have enough to stake through that fight. Raph doing a nice job of dodging out the Impale. If that Impale had connected, then it would have gone the other way. So a very important movement from Raph in order to get the kill there. And they're going to be able to clear out their own side of the jungle. 5 minutes in, we've got ourselves a very even game.
That we have, surprisingly, even after how strong Gangstar Cerberus were at the start, they do still have a little bit of a lead, only about 700 gold or so. Leon will be building up towards that tension bow as well, we assume. Techno JJ's almost got his Shatter Glass, if that's the way he's going. Could, of course, decide to go down a Frostburn or an Eve or a Broken Myth first as well, but probably won't be the Broken Myth as he doesn't have a Piercing Shard. Leon, once again, just stealing away jungle camps. It's actually, double Raph CS. He's in a very strong spot on this Lance. Will impale jetpacks as well. Githian walls him back. Is taking some damage from that minion mine. Meanwhile, Techno JJ getting chased off towards the side. Needs to dodge around a little bit. Leon jumps back into jetpacks. Not going to be able to land the Githian wall. Will hit the impale onto Raph. There's the fountain as well. Net Toilette the front line now for Gangstar Cerberus. And he almost goes down. That minion mine is doing absolute work. Raph goes in. Leon with a 3-man Githian wall to help Techno JJ pick up the kill. Gangstar Cerberus is still looking for this. This is so aggressive from them. Won't be able just to, well, they won't be able to steal away that chance. So Aidslip will heal himself back up, and Gangstar Cerberus now perhaps will allay their aggression for a minute.
You say that, but they are definitely sticking around with still very low health as they rotate up into this lane, perhaps looking to catch someone out here. Be wary of that Impale coming out. The stun goes through from the Merciless Pursuit, but that looks like it should be it for now, as Leon is going to duck back into the jungle. Their side of the jungle has actually been up for a while now, and is worth quite a bit. Leon, though, is going to take a lot of damage.
Yeah, I didn't expect the scout trap to be there. Raph should be able to take him out. Just needs one more Sonic Zoom in. Leon's looking for the escape. Dodges the Glimmer Shot as well with the combat roll. Leon, you absolute monster, gets himself out safely, and on his way out just says, thank you very much, I'll take these fronts. With another 54 gold in his back pocket. Raph still looking for this. Oh, one shot, one kill from Aidslip was in entirely the wrong direction. And that means Leon is definitely out of this one safe. But he even gets the trend. Leon, you're a god. It's just a godly play here, and you can see why he's one of the rising stars in Europe, been around for such a long time as well for such a young man. They get a kill on towards Raph as well. Jetpack's now in an awkward situation, a very sticky spot for him, as Gangstar Cerberus will take him out. 6 kills to 2, and Gangstar starts to take control.
Yeah, Leon is just making plays all over the place when it really feels like he's on the verge of going down. He still just sticks around. He knows the limits of this hero and is able to find these fights. You mentioned the CS lead he has. That's just because Lance in general, but then you put it on to Leon and he just has complete control of this jungle using that massively enhanced clear speed from this hero in order to constantly take out camps. They donate that one over to Techno JJ, giving him a little bit of extra regen, and now Hadeslip recognizes that, well, he's in some trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble. Leon could just go for the chase. Combat roll into auto. One more auto attack will be enough. Leon with his second kill of the game. I thought it was going to be a lot more than that, in all honesty, when I looked down at the scoreboard, but it's been Techno JJ picking up a lot of these early kills.
Yeah, it's really just a great job by Gankstars all around. Leon making these plays happen, stealing away all this jungle farm. Techno JJ, the one to actually secure the kills. They're spreading the gold around quite nicely as a result. Of course, Techno also getting all the gold up in the lane as well. They're going to take down this first turret here 9 minutes into the game. Not the fastest turret we've seen, but definitely a very clean turret take. And Gankstars, they are really starting to pull ahead in this one.
It's pretty fast as well when you're playing a Celeste Lance combo, because that's much like Lance isn't the best at sieging turrets. It's the best at picking up kills in the jungle though, as he takes out Wrath. Aidslip is looking for this on Jetpacks, but not going to be able to get too much. The Blast Tremor comes out, but Jetpacks and Aidslip had just backed away. Yeah, but like Celeste isn't the best at taking turrets in the early game because she just doesn't have downright damage, and Lance really isn't that strong as well. He's very good at counter jungling, but not the best at sieging up towers.
Yeah, it's, I mean, not the best at sieging up towers, but doesn't really need to be in most situations. Like, if you just kill your enemies, then there's no reason to siege a tower.
That is true. Master yourself and kill the enemy is the goal here for Gangster Cerberus, and they're doing it very well. Already have 8 kills. There's a wait for it. Leon will take that one-shot, 1 kill to the face. Bouncing comes out across the wall. The Impale back wrap! Half his HP just gone. It's knocked out of the Helio there. A bit of anti-synergy between the Gangstar Serious Mind members. Aidslip comes in from the back line. Will be able to take out Techno JJ. Gets himself a double across towards Rap. And now Net Toilette is the last man standing for Gangstars. Great flank there by Aidslip to get on towards the backside. And now SK starting to get back into this game. One more glimmer from Aidslip would be enough, but he just can't quite find the damage onto Net Toilette.
Yeah, that was a beautiful flank from Aidslip, allowing them to get those 2 kills. And, I mean, again, that little bit of, perhaps greed from Gankstars, as they looked like they were going to get away clean, but then Leon turned around, tried to get that Impale Githian combo. It didn't fully connect the way that they wanted, and as a result, Aidslip was able to rotate around. It's one of those plays that, if it works, we praise Leon to the high heavens and talk about how he's a god of Vainglory, but when it doesn't work, it ends up being a situation that allows your opponents to get perhaps back into this game. But Gankstars, they are not taking their foot off the pedal. They are continuing to put pressure on even after that little mishap.
Looking for their second turret of the game. This will push them ahead further in that gold lead as well. Raph and Aidslip have something to say about it, but Raph just gets rooted to the spot. The Blast Tremor comes out as well. Leon combat rolls slightly awkwardly there. The Solar Storm's not quite going to take down the Vox, but they do get the turret. And 8 kills to 4 up now. Gankstars are looking dominant.
They really are. Even when they do have these little mishaps, like I said, they come back just as strong and just continue to pound away at their opponents. The Impale's going to be hitting Githian walls, and if someone gets caught out on their own, like, there's just no chance for them.
Well, Raph is going to step straight into Leon here. The Impale comes out once again. Helio's Githian wall, and Rap's just gone. What play here by Gangstar Cerberus. There's so much action as well. More than a kill a minute this game. And
their
ability. I want to pick up on Jetpacks has gone for Dragon Blood contract really, really late. He's only just picked it up now. It seems a very old itemization choice to me.
It does. It is. There's no real other way around it. It is a strange itemization choice. I guess just thinking that they have that little bit of extra damage. Maybe they'll be able to turn these fights around. But I mean, 100 bonus damage, not really gonna be game changing at this stage of the game.
No, not at all. Especially since you're just getting burst out in a fight as well. Your carries need to think about surviving more than think about doing damage. But at the end of the day, it's a small gold investment. So maybe it's just like, well, can't finish anything else. Can't really build towards anything else. I'll just get myself a contract. And Leon jumps in with the Impale. Didn't quite spot the Raptors coming down the side. He'll get stunned up. And that is a risk. If Leon misses an Impale, he will go down very, very quickly here. Gangstar Cerberus need to be slightly cautious as to how they approach this final turret in the lane.
And SK, they know that this is a spot where they can make a pretty lengthy defensive stand, as long as they don't get anyone caught out. That has kind of been the problem for them, is Leon, the pick potential with a Lance is massive, especially when you throw on a Catherine and the Celeste on top of it. Like, And we've seen multiple times where one target just gets hit by the Impale and is just removed completely from the fold. And so underneath this third and final lane turret, there is an opportunity for SK to play defensively enough so that no one is going to get caught out. But as they move up to try and clear out this jungle, regain the minion mine,
looking for the fight. The burst will come out from jetpacks. Blast Tremor used as well. There's the Solar Storm jetpacks. So low, but mounted at perfect time to keep him alive for just another second. Techno's looking for the chase onto Rat. Doesn't have the Frostburn yet. Aeslip's not going to escape. He didn't realize that Leon was coming for him, and Leon sniffs him out around the corner and takes him down. And now Gangstar Cerberus will take away the minion mine. They'll probably go and take the gold mine as well, and then set themselves up for a Kraken push.
They are going to be able to get set up 40 seconds. Sorry, we're hitting 14:20, but 40 seconds until Kraken does spawn. You could potentially see a final gold mine taken, but it doesn't look like Gankstars are too terribly interested in the gold miner. Instead, just continuing to put pressure on the lane, clearing out the jungle. I think now that they rotate back over, I mean, why not go for it? There's not really a whole lot much else to take. Just get that little bit extra gold, but they're gonna pass, as it wouldn't be a huge gold payout, but I'm just gonna leave
160 or so, you know?
Yeah, it should be. They're gonna
it's
leave
not
it on
like
the
they didn't
table.
have vision around it. I feel like, just take it, just go for it. They're gonna set up for the Kraken. Perhaps not wanting to take at least any small amount of damage they would have taken from getting the gold mine. But I don't think it would have been the end of the world. Now, let's talk about Leon's build.
It's not game-changing in any sense, like in their favor or against them, so it's not a big deal. But, yeah, Leon's build, double Sorrow Blade. This is actually the build I do prefer to see when it's a weapon carry lance, as you just have a little bit of extra late-game scaling, I feel personally, than if you go for that tension bow. And, well, Leon, he's definitely made it work thus far.
He has got the Kraken on the side of Gankstars as well. Now Jetpack's going to get caught off towards the side. Blast Tremor on Aeslip and Jetpacks. Here comes the burst. Leon knocks him out of it with the Gideon wall. Stuns him up a double impale as well. It is blocked, but Raph just takes so much pain from this Leon. Just pounding down upon him. It's going to be another kill. They get the Helios off towards the side as well. Only Jetpack's left alive. Trying to heal himself up with the Gift of Fire, but it's just not enough. Gangstar Cerberus with the ace, with the Kraken pushing in. Didn't even need it to dive that first turret. Will take the turret down and should be looking at the game here now.
And it very well should be the game. The Kraken not even going to get onto these turrets before they're already nearly down. Actually, Kraken's not going to get a hit on either of those crystal turrets. Instead, just straight onto the crystal. And Gangstar Cerberus taking game number 1.
Superb play by Gangstar Cerberus. I have to say, SK not quite looking their former selves. From yesterday, we saw them absolutely destroy Mouse Sports, but Gangstar Cerberus just another level. Played incredibly well that game. Very good early pressure, which capitalized for them into the late game. We're going to hand it back across towards our analysts. They are the Bloodthirsty Escalators. It's AJ, Humanist, and Fuji. Take it away.
Bloodthirsty Escalators.
Hey, it's too soon. There's some escalators accidents that happened earlier this year.
It's true. I think an escalator got a boot.
Yeah, we're trying to bite those
Ow.
shoelaces. Keep you there.
Those rubber boots, though, you gotta be careful actually on the escalator.
That's happened too
You
many
see
times.
what you've done, Sona?
Anyhow, that was an interesting game. I mean, Gankstars, I was kind of surprised that we saw Leon in the jungle versus the lane, to be honest. Certainly worked out well for them, though, and he's been playing things like the Lance and Roam position this season anyway. So that translated well. I think they did a very convincing job pretty much the entire game through.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we said before the game started, Techno had spent most of his career prior to joining Gankstars in the lane, so somewhere I'm sure he's happy to rejoin again. Iraqi never lets him up there when they're practicing.
We were joking, and he's like, he had that opportunity. He's going to show Iraqi how to get that Celeste CS up in that lane.
Techno hasn't played Celeste in like a year.
He's
like, I never
I
get the
got
player.
this, though.
But, we talked a lot about the Crystal Power Vox into Lance last series, and same kind of thing is happening right here, right? Like Lance just walks up and just continues to poke you, impales you. It doesn't matter how much you kite or how much you jump around, like your damage is just nowhere near enough to take him out. And your backline Celeste she's not just standing behind Lance, like she's doing her own thing with Catherine, staying away from the resonance bounces.
All of these fights were like in and out, pokey, pokey, pokey. I mean, that probably had it was in small part due to the fact that it was a CP Vox, but it was never going to have the opportunity to really capitalize on that.
Yeah, we actually used to see CP Vox power spike really heavy in the mid game and then become a monster in the late game. Against this type of composition, it's actually opposite. He's much stronger early to mid and falls off a lot late because Lance gets a lot of static defense just from hitting level 12, and when he's got his Githian wall up, he throws his shield out, he's taking even less damage from you. So CP Vox is actually hindered and pretty hamstringed all late game. If Lance decides you're my focus, I'm just gonna poke you down.
Had that
until you
Stormguard
die.
banner though.
Yeah, it doesn't
get that true damage in there.
as much as Stormguard banner helps a lot of people. Didn't really seem to help Vox close this game out.
It didn't.
All right, so moving into game 2, where would you like the changes to come for SK? It sounds to me like maybe the draft is a big question mark, something that they should focus on, but were there sort of fundamental decision-making issues in the game that they need to look at as well?
Well, I would say that I don't think Gankstars pulled off the kind of Lance, Catherine, Celeste combo extremely well. It was very kind of scattered and all over the place. So I think that's a good thing when it comes for SK, trying to think what they need to do. Just try to find something they're going to be comfortable on and execute on the comp, because they can actually get picks, I think, on this specific Gankstars lineup.
Look, they need to say, is Jetpack comfortable building a Dragon Blood contract on this roam? No, don't pick it.
The litmus test.
All right, SK Gaming versus Gankstars Cerberus. This is game 2. We're into the draft. Lyra off the table yet again. So is Kestrel. Does leave Lance available. It's a very common first pick right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely try to take it away from Gankstars. Lance is really good in jungle, really good in the roam position. So just take it. Don't let the other team play it. You have to think about way too much if it's an aggressive Lance. If it's a Lance that's going banner into tension bow, he's going to be able to steal your farm. He's going to be able to hyper level.
I think about it 2 different ways. Everything you're saying is totally correct. We're going to get pressured. He is going to take some of our jungle. Someone's going to die. But also, it's very predictable. And if you can out-rotate your opponent just because you know that type of aggression is going to be coming out, you can also look to take advantage of that.
It's definitely true. Something that has to be practiced and thought out quite a bit going into the draft beforehand, I would imagine. But in the thick of things, Gankstars decides Lance is cool to let go. We'll ban the Kestrel. We'll take the Adagio. We'll take the Finn. We think this is a little bit more our style into a Lance pick. We do see the Saw come through, though.
I'm curious to see how they're going to play this one out here.
Into Adagio Finn. I mean, it's just, I'm a little bit worried.
It's got to be a CP Saw.
Yeah, one might say it's probably a
CP
Crystal
Saw
Power Saw.
into Finn, though. I mean, what happens if you're trying to run forward and execute someone, he predicts it with a quibble, or Polite companies you out of the
It's
dash?
still better than any case you could make for a weapon saw trying to stand still and...
It's true. I actually like Crystal Power Saw into Finn, too, because you just get a couple of reflexes throughout the game if you feel like you need them. You get a reflex block, you finish a Crucible or an Aegis as well. But the thing that makes Finn such a good roam is his difficulty to kill with Polite Company, with all of these things to his kit once he gets pretty low health. CP Saw can just target Finn with a shank and kill him, take him out of the equation once he's at 1/3 health with all of the health that Finn actually stacks. Same with Glaive, too.
Yeah.
CP Saw can actually do work. It's going to be about making sure he times his reflex and is protected by this Lance.
What do you guys think about this Glaive? We haven't had a chance to discuss it much yet. I feel like there's potentially a bit of a lack of damage heading into the later game, especially.
I think Leon's going to build for deeps just fine.
Yeah. If you're really skilled at Glaive, you can actually go the risky route and just build a lot of offense and go in, use your combos, delete the target, and then bail with boots. But it is kind of a high-risk, high-reward scenario. We'll have to see if Leon's capable of doing it.
He's definitely one of those mechanically skilled players. We talked about it earlier on. Let's head on to the Halcyon Fold for Game 2 of this semifinals matchup between SK Gaming and Gankstars Cerberus. And... yeah, so we're going to be heading on to the Halcyon Fold right now. There we go. All right, passing it on over to Tasty Bacon and Dr. Sona.
Thank you very much, Charlie's Angels on the analyst desk. I'm Sona, I'm joined by Tasty Bacon. We are into the action now. Gangstar Cerberus looked absolutely dominant in that first game, taking it 1-0 thus far in this best of 3. Do you think we're going to see the same stuff coming out from them in this game, Bacon?
We could, if they can control this Saw. That's going to be the real big key here, is trying to make sure that Aidslip is not able to get rolling. Leon with a Glaive pickup and be able to do a pretty solid job of that as long as the afterburns are good. We'll see. Here they go. First skirmish of the game. not going to really result in much of anything.
Very defensive afterburn. It was good to get him away, but not really good for the aggression at all. Very interesting there from Gankstars. They decided not to really take their first jungle clear and just went a little bit more aggressive. And actually, it looks like Leon's going to stay in the lane, and they're just going to let Techno JJ clear out the jungle. Net Toilette's going to come up to the lane as well, but it's a very interesting strategy from them here.
Yeah, lane glaive. This is something that we really haven't seen since, way back, going back to, even I think the winter finals was maybe one of the last times that we saw a lane glaive come out. Glaive himself just hasn't really been part of the meta too frequently, and especially not in the lane, but Leon opting to take it here. We'll see what they can do against this saw. It will be a crystal saw, as there's a couple of crystal bits picked up, and that was the reason for that sort of strange jungle start from Gankstars, was they wanted to try and find an opportunity to jump on this saw immediately right off the bat, because it is so important to put a saw behind early in the game.
That it is. If you can cut him off, you can really stop any sort of scaling damage that he might have. I think the issue is going to be that, he's already got to this point. He's in an okay position. He's not going to be sort of that tower pushing saw we see all the time, but still going to be pretty darn strong. And perhaps that's the reason they decided to take the lane glaive as well, because he can do exactly that onto Saw, pops him back, but look at the damage from the Dank Shank, aid slip, and Wrath perfectly timed to take down that glaive.
And nice job to pick up that first kill of the game, going over to SK. Aidslip is, I've actually been very impressed with Aidslip's play over the past few days, and it's on this Crystal Saw. I'm something I haven't really seen too much of from him, but early start looking good for now. Net Toilette holds the minion wave there for Leon, but they immediately are just worried about Techno JJ's health down in the jungle. The large minion wave if they would miss out on if Leon were to rotate. So he really doesn't want to leave this lane alone, but doesn't want to leave his jungler alone either. Instead, they're going to find a little bit of a fight.
Techno might go down here, actually. Raph able to catch him off towards the side. That's a big problem with Adagio, is he's just not that tanky at all. So if you get jumped on before you've got that burst for the fortified health, you can get taken out very, very quickly. And obviously that Gift of Fire not doing too much healing at this point in the game. Only one rank into that A ability. He's not going to be able to heal himself up. However, gold's still pretty much even between these two teams. It looks like Leon actually done a pretty good job of farming up in this lane into a Saw as well. Sitting at 41. Techno's a little bit behind Wrath, but not too far back. And actually, Leon will spot out aid slip here. Jetpacks is just around the corner though, so Leon needs to be careful. There's the suppressing fire. Jetpack's looking for a bit of a chase here. Aid slip there as well. Afterburn's back up. Leon's going to have to try and reposition. Does get taken out by aid slip, even though he got the stun off. And SK 3-0 up against Gankstars Cerberus.
And Leon was trying to time that so that he could hit the afterburn and it would time out with the roadie run, the stun duration, but fortunately the roadie run ended up hitting about the same time as the afterburn did, so, and is a kill for Aidslip once again. 3-0 in favor of SK on the kills, but like you said, gold, not too much of a disparity, as they have been doing a good job of Gankstars of securing farm. Even on that play, when Leon went aggressively into the enemy jungle, Techno JJ rotated up to the lane, picked up the lane farm during that time. However, right now, Leon and Aidslip going to be back into the lane. So, it looked like there was going to be a fight, at least on my end, but my device is having some strange issues where they were pretty much just standing on top of each other for a few seconds.
Well, sometimes that is just the best way to, get your anxiety and your anger out. You just have a little bit of a group hug in the lane, and then just decide to go your separate ways, which seems to be what they've done. A gold lead actually taken here by Gankstars, as they capture that minion mine as well. Techno JJ still farming up in the jungle pretty effectively. He's building up towards that alternating current. If he can get there pretty soon, he can definitely help his glaive out on jumping towards that crystal power saw. And here they go, afterburn onto jetpacks. They're going to try and take the Arden out first, but the fountain is enough, and Leon will fall once again. Net Toilette very late with his fountain. If he was trying to keep a Leon alive, the flight company from Net Toilette will pull them in. I'm not sure that's where you want a crystal power saw to be when he's got that mad cannon active.
Yeah, it really is. And one of the things we've been seeing even going back to yesterday, is Gankstars with very late fountains. It's a strategy that a lot of players do use. You want to hold that fountain as late as possible because the healing does scale with missing health, but the downside is if you wait just a little bit too long, and you just aren't able to actually get enough healing to keep you alive. So it's a very fine line that they try and play on there, but right now, SK, they are taking advantage.
They are impressive. They get the double as well. Raph really showing us how this lance can be played. No offense to Leon, last game he played it very well, but we've seen a lot of bad lances over the last few weeks of the Evil 8, and today seems to be when all of the good ones are showing up together.
Well, it certainly seems so thus far, and for Gankstars, your concern has to be the fact that with this Crystal Saw, Gatesup is just going to get incredibly strong as this game goes on. It is a very strong late game pick. And Leon with this Glaive, like, he's going to start falling off. Glaive is much more of an early game focused pick where you really just want to use it to propel this lane far ahead of your opponents, and that just has not happened.
Hasn't happened at all. Gangstar Cerberus really not able to work out how to get ahead in this game. Aidslip sitting at 1-0 with 4 assists, and the Shatter Glass already completed on him. Jetpack's once again gone for that Dragon Blood contract. One of the first Roamers to do that. Impale onto Leon. There's just no escape. As soon as the Impale comes down with a suppressing fire, you know Leon's going down. Hasn't had the opportunity to really build up that much shielding either. Just has a light shield, so it makes it just so difficult for him to actually do anything in these fights.
And that's one of the combos that we've actually seen rise to prevalence this season, is putting that lance with a Crystal Saw. Sometimes even a Catherine joins it. And it's all about just being able to keep an opponent in that suppressing fire for as long as possible. If you eat an entire suppressing fire, like for a lot of heroes, that's nearly all of your health just gone off of that one ability. So normally you can get yourself out of it and avoid that damage, but with the Impales and potentially then Gauntlets later on in the game, you're not going to be able to avoid it.
Be able to avoid it at all. Now, Gangstar Cerberus just need to work out how to get back into this game. You've got Leon just finished his Sorrow Blade. Techno JJ does have that alternating current, but you're basically an item behind the opponents across the board. Aidslip tries to get away with that Roadie Run, gets Dax Shank back, and actually Leon will get his first kill, and the first kill of the game here for Gangstar Cerberus. The scoreline is 7-1. But moment, neither of these teams really taking the advantage. SK have taken the advantage, but haven't really been able to get much out of it. Leon jumps in once again to knock Raph back. Jetpack's trying to get the damage down. Leon's still alive here. The Gift of Fire doing so much work. The burst comes out from Techno and will be able to take out Raph. And now it's up to Jetpack to try and survive. Techno JJ and Net Toilette. He will run his way away. Gangstar Cerberus able to trade at 1-for-1.
And here's the thing about the Gankstars team right now. Techno JJ is nowhere... Well, he's nowhere to be found on the Folds at the moment because Aidslip just destroyed him, but he's nowhere close to being the super powerful Adagio that we do frequently see with a carry Adagio. He has the alternating current, that's great, but really needs to have at least the Broken Myth as well to start having the damage output that he really wants. Now, when they do get this combo of afterburning someone into the team and then you have the Adagio just throwing out those empowered attacks onto them, that's going to be a ton of damage. And if it happens to hit onto Aidslip, like that should be a kill almost every time once Techno JJ hits that power spike.
I have to agree now. They're going to look for the dive onto Leon underneath the turret. SK, there is the Force Accord, not going to connect because the Crucible comes down. It's a long cooldown once again. The Gauntlet. Techno needs to see what he can do here. Doesn't have the burst available for another 30 seconds or so. Net Toilette with a good quibble onto Raph will force them back. And SK not able to capitalize on this early game lead. The gold has gone down to 1,700. SK need to work out a way to win this game. Suppressing fire onto Techno JJ is a good start. Quibble missing as well. Here's the Mad Cannon from Aidslip. Here comes Techno JJ running away from Raph, who went for the flank. 3-man Impale. It's beautiful play here from Raph. Techno will fall as well. Aidslip with a double. And that is exactly what SK needed.
And absolutely is able to get a couple of kills. See if they can finally get some damage onto this turret, because it really has not been touched, despite the fact that they've had this large kill lead and felt like they've had kind of the pressure Leon going to be taken down very, very low. Needs to be wary of a roadie run, but not going to come out, not yet at least. But this turret is going to get taken down extremely low. Should be falling, but again, Crystal Saw not the best at actually taking down structures.
No, not the best at all, but Raph will help out. Jumps in with the Impale, and SK get the first turret of the game. They're looking to see what they need to do next. They've gone 3,500 gold ahead now. They're starting to pick up these second item spikes. Double Solar Blade is the build for Raph. Jetpacks has the Fountain Crucible and an Atlas. And Aidslip has the Broken Myth and a Shatterglass to go alongside it. Gankstars Cerberus are not out of this game yet, but they're definitely approaching the point of no return. If they can't start to get a few kills, that glaive is only going to fall behind.
Yeah, they're not out of it yet, but they certainly are slipping. However, they're going to look to try and make a play happen here, maybe. It looks like SK is actually the one going aggressive.
They are looking for the fight. Can't blame them for going aggressive. They are ahead. The Goldmine doing some work here as well. Leon just kept alive by the fountain. Net Toilette now needs to get himself away. Gauntlet comes down, and it will stop Leon and Techno JJ getting in, but it won't stop Raph taking out Leon off towards the side. A double quick kill there for SK. They're going to chase out Techno JJ as well. Gittian Wall doesn't quite connect. Techno tries to turn it around, but can't really do much against three members of SK. It's an ace for them, and they'll look to take this gold mine as well.
That was very, very strange to me. Gankstars, like, they could have gotten out of that with only losing one, but then Leon turned around and just sort of walked directly into the gauntlet. Like, it almost looked like he thought that was his teammate's gauntlet or something, because he, like, there was no hesitation about it. He just turned and walked directly into the stun, and immediately Raph and Aidslip were able to turn onto him, take that kill, and it turned it into an ace.
That they did, able to get themselves the ace out of it, and the gold mine as well. 4,000 and a bit gold, the lead for them now. They'll start to work out exactly how they want to plan their next attack. There's still those two lane turrets left, crystal turrets there as well. 2 minutes before that Kraken spawns. SK are in the driving seat, but Gankstars Cerberus looking to disrupt this journey.
See what they can find, though. Leon hasn't really been able to find the target. That last fight, the Afterburn actually ended up hitting jetpacks, which is absolutely not the target you want to be hitting. Raph is using the same build that Leon had on this Lance. It has plenty of damage. The Force Cord gonna get blocked out, but they really need to start finding these abilities hitting onto... I mean, even if it hits Raph, that's a little bit better, but they really need to find them onto Aidslip.
That they do. Leon has to afterburn away again. Aidslip now has the Eve of Harvest. It'd be so difficult to burst through that saw. And I just want to comment as well, Crystal Saw is not something we see that commonly. Aidslip's played this very, very well. We probably see it more than we do Weapon Power Saw these days, but still not a priority pick in a lot of these draft phases. And SK really
maybe
played
not
the
in
draft
Europe.
well.
We see it all the time over in North America. At least we had the past
we're
few
not
weeks.
in North America. We're not in North America today. Well, not yet. Anyway, Net Toilette will get a 3-man cripple. Here comes Leon trying to get that Blood Song down. Aidslip the first target, goes low, gets taken out. Techno's still alive as well. Here's the Gauntlet, but gets stunned out of it. Net Toilette should fall though, off towards Jetpacks, over towards the side. Raph cannot combat roll across that wall. SK end up getting a 2-4-1 in their favor, but perhaps not the best trade. They could have done a lot more.
Yeah, Aidslip finally getting targeted down here. Leon, though, and Techno JJ were unable to find any other kills during that skirmish. Raph just still has a ton of damage being output when he jumps in. So even when they take down Aidslip, like Techno JJ was just a little bit too close for comfort and ended up falling, being the first one to go down for the sides of Gankstars. But you know, getting a kill in there, it's a little bit better than what they've done the last few team fights, so could be signs of that potential comeback.
Perhaps. I don't really want to say signs of the comeback when they are this far behind, but you never know. We have seen teams overcome worse odds. And Gankstars Cerberus are our #1 team here in EU, the Evil 8s, I think. Are they #1 in NA as well, Gankstars Sirius?
They are currently #1 in North America right now.
There's a possibility of them being overthrown today.
It's a very, very slim possibility, but it is still a possibility.
It is, well, at the moment, Gankstars Cerberus are #1 and looking to take this series 2-0. They are 1-0 up in this best of 3 and actually qualified for Worlds yesterday as well, so they'd be very happy campers in this game, even if they do end up not quite being able to close it out. Leon with the flank here. They don't have vision on him. He's going to get onto A-Slip, stuns him up, but there's a great impale from Raph off towards the side. Leon gets caught out. The fountain comes out. There's the gauntlet, catches Techno. A-Slip so healthy in this fight, can get the stuns off. A great Gideon wall. Techno's dead before the burst comes out as well. And it's another ace for SK, and they'll turn their eyes to the Kraken and bring that monster for their final push.
How about that impale from Raph, completely saving Aidslip? Leon jumped onto Aidslip, did a great job of initiating that fight, but Raph, with the impale, held him in place and allowed Aidslip to get that reposition. Huge turnaround for SK and a beautifully played team fight. And as you mentioned, we're 17 minutes in, Kraken is going to be falling, and SK, they are looking to take game number 2 of this series.
That they are, they'll get the Kraken. They are 19 kills to 3 up as well. Only 7,000 gold to lead. I say only, I mean that's a big gold lead, but considering they are 16 kills ahead and have 2 turrets in there under their belts, it's not as big as it could be. They might look towards this minion mine as the Kraken pushes in as well. More, it's just something to use up their time waiting around with than anything else, because they're just going to be waiting on this Kraken push. Raph looking for the flank onto Leon. Afterburns away, knocked back out of the afterburn. There's the force accord on jetpacks. Will pull him in. They're going to try and take out the roam before the fight even starts. Good suppressing fire from Aidslip will stop them in their tracks. Here's the Kraken. It's pushing in on towards that turret. That's going to fall. Net2Elect tries to run in, but really can't do much. SK get their 3rd turret of the game. They're looking for the push onto these crystal turrets. That Kraken's still very healthy. And it's a long road home here for Gankstars Cerberus. They have to try and turn it around. Suppressing fire. Gauntlet used as well, just to try and stop Gankstars getting in with the engage. Leon stunned up. Almost goes down to the Mad Cannon from SK. There's a cripple onto all 3 members, but it's up to Techno and Leon to try and do the damage. Net can't do it. Knocked out of the burst with the Githian wall as well, and Net will fall to Aidslip. The Kraken's still pushing in. 2 members of Gankstars left alive, but they just can't do anything, as Aidslip and the Kraken will take down the crystal and even this series out at 1-1.
And there is some significance to this victory for SK, as by gaining that point, they have now guaranteed that they will not be a part of the challenge battles at the end of this split. So they're going to be happy with that win. They're going to be thirsty to take another one and get into the finals here in week 3 of the 2nd split of the autumn season.
Absolutely superb play by SK, solidifying themselves as part of the Evil 8-4 next split as well, which is great for them. Gankstars Cerberus will be working out how they get back into this series. Momentum is in SK's favour, but will it be enough? We'll ask our analysts. It's Alvin in the Chipmunks. Over to you.
I think I triggered Sona yesterday when I was like, He used the same one twice without realizing, I think.
Yeah.
I called him out on it, and now he's just gone away and written so many ideas down.
What's funny is the first time he was casting and I was actually a host, I threw it over twice the same way, and he called me out on it.
He's just getting you back.
Live and
It's
learn.
obviously one of those things he's sensitive to.
All right, so that game was a very different look from game 1, of course. Gankstars kind of got crushed there, to be honest. The Crystal saw, I had my doubts. I thought maybe there was ways it could be dealt with. I don't have any doubts anymore, for sure.
I didn't have any doubts. I mean, technically, Gankstars lost pretty hard in draft there. CP Saw actually worked extremely well into all 3 of those picks, especially when you have a front line like Lance or an Arden or Catherine or someone who can be there to help stun, lock down, save you, put a gauntlet down for some control, assuming the gauntlet lands where you intend it to. But
walls get in the way sometimes, all right?
they're thick walls.
To be fair, there are these moments sometimes when you're right next to the wall and like you try to throw your gauntlet this way and you get like stuck.
Yeah.
It's like you get velcroed to the wall.
Got to be careful about the
I didn't see where
angles.
he launched that one from, but yeah.
But the thing is like when you throw down the suppressing fire, it stops so much of the mobility from Adagio being able to move around. When Glaive goes in, he cannot get out. So if a suppressing fire goes down and you don't delete him, he's going to get max stacks. He's going to throw his mad cannon into you. They're all high health targets, so it's going to be able to knock them down and then, of course, shank to finish them off.
I got to cut you off for a second because we need to talk about a few things I'm getting buzzed into my ear. First things first, Iraqi Zora is actually coming back in place of Leon, which we'll get to in a second.
Need
Also,
to win game 3 to bring Iraqi back.
If you guys feel like that influences what you might expect from this series, you can vote again as we go into Game 3. Type !vote followed by either GSC or SK in the Twitch chat. We'll tally that up later on. So, this is obviously interesting as a development, because Leon, historically, has been the ace up their sleeves that they bring in when they are in dire straits. But now, they're actually using Iraqi for that position.
That's
Maybe
right.
they should have used Iraqi to help with their draft. I think that would have been the right call for game 2 there.
Perhaps.
Maybe Iraqi was just sitting back behind them, and he's like, no, this is what you do. You're going to need a glaive here.
That could have been. Oh, dear. I hope not. But, yeah, Glaive is such a niche pick right now in the meta, and he works in such small areas of success. And when you have a Lance on the front line, Glaive is such a hard time dealing with
We were
Lance.
talking about what Lance brings versus what Glaive brings, and I was joking around. I was like, well, Glaive can cleave in a cone. And you're like, yeah, but Lance can cleave in a straight line and does more. It's tough.
It's tough. I mean, I can see a spot for Glaive, but not against a tanky front line in a CP Saw.
Okay, so moving into Game 3, and with consideration of the fact that Iraqi is stepping in for Leon, what are we expecting draft-wise, right? Because Leon and Iraqi Zoro both have different hero pools, and actually Iraqi Zoro is going to be going back to lane Techno with jungle probably, right? So this is a very different Gankstars lineup, in fact.
I mean, Iraqi generally always lanes. I mean, he's only played jungle a couple of times in non-competitive. Not his favorite place to be. So I'd imagine we see the traditional Gankstars lineup here for this Game 3.
They should. They take it as a moment to practice up here.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't expect to see anything out of the norm for what they've done in the past. They're going to try to secure the Lance or Celeste. They're going to try to get the Iraqi on a mage of some sort, I imagine, and then just kind of go from there, play it out pretty easy. I think the bigger question mark is what does SK look to do for this round 3? Since it's not the same lineup, they're going to have to alter their draft strategy a little bit.
Do you think they might consider going for a CP Saw? Again, that certainly seemed to work quite well.
They won't get the Lance. That's not going to happen, I don't think. So they'll have to take a much different approach to it.
Yeah, I mean, we do see Cerberus on side A, so they generally haven't been banning Kestrel on this side. They can have some freedom, and if Kestrel's let go, they still usually take the Lance first pick. That is the priority. We'll even let Celeste go over many times for that pickup. So without the Lance on the front line, maybe not as comfortable picking the CP Saw. We'll have to see. On B side, it tends to be usually more of a last pick situation anyway. On A side, you can pick it during the second round just because once you know 2 of those picks on B side, you can feel pretty safe. Even if you don't know the last pick, we have a composition that can protect me. I'd be surprised to see them drafted on B, though.
What is the dream scenario for both of these teams?
To win.
I mean, in terms of what they pick to enable them to win. What's the dream scenario?
What do you think?
SK is like preferably playing with aggression. So as far as like Ralph's actually one of the few players I think you could see Glaive picked up and do well. And I wouldn't even like Arden Glaive coming out of this team if it fit the draft. If there's a couple squishies like if Kestrel went over or something like that, I would be perfectly okay with that.
Arden just got banned out by Gankstars as we do head into the draft for Game 3. That's kind of an interesting ban by itself.
It is an interesting ban.
Yeah, unique. I don't think we've ever seen an Arden ban at all
Arden,
in this
dude, I'm telling you,
split.
Arden's the best.
So very strong here. They don't want Arden on the map at all. They say don't let your dreams be memes. We're gonna get rid of the Arden to make sure ours come true.
I'm really curious about like why they actually did that. I'd love to talk with them after.
Well, probably a plan in place. They know that if SK does not want to give Lance over, if SK thinks Lance is the priority ban, if they do take Arden, it does force the roam pool into a much smaller category, a more predictable one.
Right.
SK can go Lyra here. They do have the option to also pick up Celeste or Kestrel. So a couple of priorities.
Yeah, maybe in some sense you can say, okay, up against Sam, like you're fighting from range, you're going to give a little move speed, some extra healing. I just don't like it in that regard. But like Arden's off the board, and Arden's one of the roams that I think does deal with Samuel pretty well, like as far as enabling your jungler, your carry to get up in his face.
Yeah, or on the defensive side of things, if they would have picked up the Finn, stacking up that shield is also an incredible counter to that initial burst damage as well.
Catherine is a really solid choice for Gankstars here too, right? It's good into the Lyra and the Kestrel.
You have 2 choices. Catherine is really good if you have an engaged comp into a Lyra Kestrel, simply just because of the nature of silencing. Lyra is very squishy, so if you are able to get that successfully off, you can kill her many times before she's able to get away. Obviously for Kestrel, the stun, the lockdown, the bubble, Stormguard is very good for absorbing a lot of that damage. Looks like that is the way they want to go, so I would imagine Gankstars for this last pick is going to want something more mobile than Samuel to be able to actually get to these characters once they're silenced.
There you go.
They
Mobility
do pick up the
incarnate.
sky. Mobility incarnate indeed. But SK Gaming has a lot of information now. They do see there are two very squishy targets with only one lockdown, one stun. We talk sometimes about when we want to see burstier characters brought onto the map. This is a time where you could even argue maybe a Glaive or somebody that's able to lock
Don't
someone
rhyme.
down. Don't rhyme. Rhyme would probably not be the right decision.
You were talking about picks earlier, like what could be an ideal, like Rhyme is one of the picks for SK that they kind of fall back on and make it work almost better than anyone, but I like Taka a lot better here.
Yeah, I mean, Rhyme into Sky, into Samuel does not seem like a good idea. and then obviously Catherine can just stop Rhyme completely from getting to any of those targets. Taka definitely a lot better. Gets onto the backline, distracts, while Lyra holds someone down with her slow so Kestrel can land those glimmer shots.
It will be a weapon Sky though, so they get into 1v1s. It's not going to be like, okay, I'm just going to chunk through the Sky. He'll have his work cut out for him there.
And so what Taka build would you guys prefer here?
Start round
Bursty?
into CP,
Okay.
and not like an aftershock. I'd like to see him get into like a broken myth.
Yeah,
Shatter.
it's nice to see him be able to go in, make somebody bleed out. They can't heal as much from any items. That way Kestrel's able to pop a few glimmer shots off and maybe pick up a kill.
All right, real quick, final predictions for this series. Who's going to the finals?
I'm going to have to say Gankstars Cerberus is going to pull it together, bringing their old lineup back together.
Oh, I think Gankstars probably take this, but my heart's with SK on this one.
All right, let's find out once and for all who's making it to the finals for this last week of the Evil 8 to meet up with G2 later on, passing it over to Dr. Sona and Tasty Bacon.
Thank you very much, Snap, Crackle, and Pop on the analyst desk. I am Sona, I'm joined by Tasty Bacon, and we are into the action already. 1-1 here between Gangstar Cerberus and SK. SK looking a lot more like the play that we saw from them yesterday in the last game, and this game they've gone pretty aggressive as well with that Taka pick.
Yeah, Taka is a hero that we've seen a lot of this season, and it's had a lot of pressure as well, typically with the Tension Crown build, but we'll see what Raph does decide to go for his build path, as it'll take a minute or two before we start to see it materialize. The Samuel, though, coming out for Iraqi Zoro. This is a pick that has been able to really kind of control games when it gets rolling.
Yeah, definitely can do, you know, you can do a lot of work. Iraqi Zoro with the Samuel. Definitely a powerful pick here for Gangstar Cerberus. Now, we do have the results from the vote, I believe. Haven't seen them in chat. There we are. 79% to Gangstar Cerberus to 21 for SK. So even though SK were dominant last game, the fans still going for Gangstars as their effective winners.
Yeah, and again, it's tough to kind of argue with that when it is a team that has won the entirety of the week for 2 weeks in a row now. And we'll see if they can continue that trend getting into the finals, or will SK put an end to the run here?
Well, they'll have to try to. I think it's a difficult one for them because Gangstar Cerberus are back with Iraqi Zoro, as you say. They've got Techno JJ sitting on that Sky. Will get spotted out here by Raph, but now needs to try and get himself away. He pops the potion to try and heal up, but I think Raph has this. Assuming Techno has nothing up his sleeve, which he doesn't, Raph will take the kill. Jetpack's coming in as well to try and force Outnet to alert. So SK 1-0 up already.
Yeah, and they get that first blood. It's not always indicative of who's going to win the game, but it's always a good sign to be able to find that first kill.
That it is first kill. Doesn't always, yeah, as you say, doesn't always mean that you're going to win the game. Doesn't even always mean you're going to snowball, but Raph's been able to take some of this jungle away as well, which really scuppers Techno JJ's plans of farming up easily. Raph's still behind on farm, but will now be able to take his own jungle, and Techno JJ really only has one camp. Oh, second spawn for him. Look at that. The second pair of backs just spawned for him there, which means it's a little bit easier for Techno JJ to farm up through his jungle now.
Yeah, going to be able to find that gold. It is going to be the Weapon Sky. Very happy to see Weapon Sky into the Taka. Crystal Sky, I feel like just gets countered very heavily by the Taka, whereas the Weapon Sky actually has is able to deal with the Taka significantly more effectively. But these scout traps being put down by SK. Going to be actually doing some work finding Techno JJ.
Yeah, Techno JJ will get caught out here. Does have the Suri strike. There's another scout. Raf's going to see what he can do if he can get that damage down. Jetpacks joins the fray as well. Techno does use that Suri strike basically in place, but will get himself away. Raf's going to look for the steal. Actually in lane, Samuel just taking out the kill. Raf will take the Treant in the jungle. Now needs to heal himself up because here comes Irakizo. We talked about how strong is Samuel as well. Very strong when you can catch Raf out of that invisibility. 2 kills over to Gankstars quickly. Jetpack's the new target. There's the lock on for Techno JJ. No Suri strike, but the forward barrage is available if he wants to try and take out that lower. Misclicks onto the minions, but Jetpacks has no escape, and Techno JJ will be able to take him out.
And it is going to be a couple more kills for Gankstars as they get up to 3-1 on the scoreboard. Nettoilette, though, is about to be answered as Aidslip finds that one. So a pretty back and forth first few minutes of the game. However, Aidslip going to be trying to make a play onto Iraqi, perhaps. Nope, just going to be taking the farm.
We'll be able to get that farm, which isn't the end of the world not getting the actual gank off, but Aidslip needs to be so careful here. He's already getting taken low by Iraqi. So one more Malice and Verdict. If that Imperial Sigil hadn't been down, he would have fallen once again. Aidslip just trying to work out how to sustain through this lane. He's ahead on farm, but needs Jetpacks here with those Imperial Sigils to keep Irakizor at bay.
And so, with Irakizor being kept at bay a little bit there, it will allow the rest of that farm to go over to Aidslip, and we'll see if it will be the Sorrow Blade, yep, and also the Fountain of Renewal. Meanwhile, Raph does have a Crystal Bit to go along with the Stormguard banner, so this could be the Aftershock tension, or the Aftershock Storm Crown build for Raph, especially considering that Aidslip is the weapon power Kestrel. It would make sense to see the Crystal Taka.
It would, and yeah, as you say, Aftershock building out probably after getting the Storm Crown first is what Raph might go for here. We did see Storm Crown into Tension Bow previously. We've seen Storm Crown into Shatterglass. Yeah, a huge amount of variety that you can get on these attackers, but late game it's all about being able to do the damage. In fact, we saw yesterday, I believe, a full weapon power attacker coming in as well. Raph looking for the steal here. X-Retsu's in, not going to be able to get that Treant away, and now needs to try and escape with the Kaku. Irakizor is low, though Aidslip gets caught up in the Oblivion Fountain used by SK. Jetpacks has no escape, nor will Aidslip in just a second, apart from using that active camo, which will invis up and get himself away. SK actually using, I believe, the 2 only invisibility heroes in Vainglory. I'm trying to think if there's another one off the top of my head. And I don't believe there is. So.
Not until next patch.
Oh yeah, Flicker. Flicker's going to be amazing.
He looks like he's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that hero to drop. But all right, now Fountain of Renewal completed for the Nettoilette on the Catherine. And we'll see if they can look to make a play off of this spike. They know they will have a slight advantage until Raph is able to finish off one of those tier 3s. But with Iraqi Zoro taking a lot of damage in the lane, maybe they won't be able to actually find any instances to go in.
Not going to be able to get anything out of it. And Gankstars Cerberus are ahead in this game, but behind on the scoreboard, which is always an interesting sight to see. Techno JJ's done a good job of actually farming up and getting himself a couple of kills, even though Raph was putting the early pressure down into his jungle. Let's have a look across the laners build. Irakizor's gone first towards that Broken Myth. Have to expect either, well, probably the Eve of Harvest out of him next. You can always go Shatterglass as well if you really want to. Aidslip has a Sorrow Blade sitting in his inventory, and probably going to build that up towards a breaking point would be the expectation.
Yeah, most likely going to be the end result, but there are other options, but it typically ends up being that breaking point coming out next. So I wouldn't expect to see any deviation from that. 4-2 on the scoreboard. Not too much has been happening the last couple of minutes of this game. As you can see, the gold very much even. In fact, dead even. It's about 100 gold difference, if even, between these two teams. And there's going to be some focus onto this gold mine now because it is a full payout, waiting for whichever side is able to secure that.
Raph has just got his his Aftershock as well, so a bit of a damage spike there for him. Here they go, gold mine's low, Imperial Sigil comes out as well, giving him some healing and getting the gold mine, but no, Irakizor says he'll take that one for himself. Aidslip low as well, has to try and get away from this, and Irakizor and Techno JJ may go for the chase. This is a full weapon power Sky with a Sorrow Blade, so really looking to utilize those auto attacks and that chase potential as much as possible.
Yeah, well, they're not going to be able to find that chase onto SK. SK does get out to safety and kind of reset the lane a bit. They can find an opportunity for themselves, but with Taka, it does have the Aftershock now, still waiting on that Storm Crown to come through and have that kind of 2-item power spike. It's not that harsh of a spike for the Taka. Having the Aftershock is really the main core item of this, but he does jump in a little bit, getting some damage on. The rest of the team finding lots of damage onto Nettoilette. One shot, gonna do some good work onto Iraqi Zoro, but they still unable to find a kill.
Jetpack's jumps in, that's so brave. He has got the fountain right at the last moment. Techno JJ here as well, but Raph just can't get the kills. He can't take down any of the members of Gankstars Cerberus. They're able to keep themselves alive. And now they can look for the chase as well. Death from above comes out. Jetpacks is dead. Ace, the last man standing here, does have the active camo up, but just as it came up, he was attacked, which means it goes back on cooldown, and Gankstars Cerberus get the ace for themselves. And this should be the first turret of the game falling as well.
Yeah, SK perhaps just getting a little too fancy there, as there hadn't been a fight for a while, and they just really tried to force one, and it just backfired completely. Gangstar is able to take advantage, find those kills, get the ace, get that turret, and that could be what breaks this game wide open.
Definitely could, you know, they've got that advantage now. Eve has been finished on towards Iraqi Zoya as well. Techno JJ building up towards that breaking point in such a strong position to win out this game now. And you have to say that SK haven't looked that strong this game. Gangstar Cerberus have really stepped up. They got Iraqi Zoya in. They want to get through to the finals. They'll be fighting out for that final spot, that first position. A-Ship goes into the active camo here. They won't be able to get any damage down really onto Nettoilette. Didn't get the stun. Now, what do you think we see next? Is this just Gankstars defending for a little bit again until that next gold mine is at a strong position for them, or are they going to be a little bit more aggressive now that first turret has fallen?
I feel like they can be a bit more aggressive. They've also got the 2 items power spikes coming out. Iraqi Zoro having the Evil Harvest and Broken Myth. He's going to start feeling very confident. I feel like they are going to play a little bit cautious just because of the fact that it is still a Kestrel Taka. Like, if you're not careful, if you overstep your bounds just a little bit, those two can just blow you up in an instant. So they will be a little bit careful still, but I feel like they are going to start making more of these aggressive plays like they're doing right now.
And they're all going to go through the passage as well, chasing Jetpacks down. Fountain comes out, Acelip there as well. The Oblivion is perfectly positioned to get both Jetpacks and Acelip. Raph tries to jump onto Iraqi Zoya, but he just doesn't have the damage to get anything out of it. Techno JJ will say thank you very much, jumping into his open arms. And it's 9-2 in favor of Gankstars.
That Oblivion was absolutely beautiful. Just taking on the, hitting both of their members of SK that it was looking for, and set up 2 more kills. And like I said, Gankstars, they are playing a little bit cautious, but they are starting to actually look for fights themselves, because they know they've gotten over the hump that you have to deal with when you're up against a Kestrel Taka.
That they have. They are totally over the hump. They will get that gold mine as well. Put themselves 4,000 gold ahead. They are sitting pretty with a pretty big bank at the moment as well. Techno JJ's gone for the Aegis, which is a strong itemization choice for him. Nettoilette looking for the fight here onto Ace. There's the forward barrage as well. He just about escapes. The Death from Above will cut them off towards the backside. Techno's gone very deep here. Needs to be careful though, because Raph is looking for blood, but the blood is all falling on SK's favor. Triple kill for Iraqi Zoro, picks up the ace, and Gankstars Cerberus get a perfect team fight.
And they are able to find another ace, and this is going to be another turret as well for their troubles. Gankstars just really starting to pull ahead on this one.
They are pulling so far ahead. They'll get this second turret as well. They could even push in with the ace buff minions if they wanted to. They decide they want to back away for now, spend up the gold they just accrued by killing the enemy, and then perhaps look at quickly taking this gold mine. Now, Jetpacks has got a late Dragon Blood contract once again. This is something we're seeing from a lot of roamers at the moment. It's a little bit of an odd pick, but obviously trying to prioritize that little extra damage you get out of it.
And it is going to be looking to maximize every little bit that they can. However, we could be about to have another team fight.
Right, Bulwark will stop them in their tracks. There's a death from above, and Oblivion lands onto Raph. They might just leave him, but Iraqi wants to kill. Jetpacks as well off towards the side. Aids that will fall. Jetpacks going to arcane passage across the wall. Chased up by Iraqi's own. No turret for them to fall back on. Techno JJ trying to go for the chase as well. There's the Drifting Dark, and Jetpacks should go down here. Iraqi's own not quite able to connect. Malice and Verdict do finally get him down. Raph caught out as well. The flare comes out, and Raph will fall. 15 kills to 2. Gangstar Cerberus are dominant.
And they are finding a third ace in this game, and well, it just looks like they're going to be able to close this one out because they have every advantage in their favor. They are going to take this third turret down. Idlib going to try and do what they can to defend this, but it is not going to happen. Turret falls. We're approaching the 15-minute mark where Kraken will be available, and Gankstars just have absolutely every advantage going their way.
That they do. Huge advantages from them at the moment, and now they just need to work out exactly how they want to close out this game. They can wait on the Kraken. It's only 20 seconds away. And just take away some of this jungle. Probably get their infusions now as well if they've got enough gold for it. Iraqi definitely does. He's got 2,000 sitting in the bank. Techno JJ's a little bit short. And what do you build here if you're Iraqi? Do you go for a little bit of armor just to make sure you survive in the fight? I mean, you're gonna be able to cheat because you're gonna see what he gets. He finishes up the shatter glass, so.
Yeah, I think you can go for a shatter glass here as his next item, but no, they are going to be looking to just close this one out here. Techno JJ, lots of damage with that forward barrage. The weapon-powered Sky still does a lot of damage, even with the abilities. It's not just all about the basic attacks, so they are going to have an opportunity here to just control the map, wait for members of SK to come out. We'll see if they even force a fight before going for that Kraken. If they find an ace, they may not even need the Kraken. We'll see how they do decide to play this, though, as it looks like they want to go for the fight route.
That they do. Raph takes a bit of pain. Here comes Jetpack, so straight into the middle, and the death from above will just cut him out of the fight. Raph trying to do what he can, but he can't do much at all. SK melted in a matter of seconds. Gangstar Cerberus with the ace might not even get the Kraken here, might just push in towards the base.
Yeah, they absolutely can. With that ace, there's still 20 seconds on the shortest death timer. They're going to at least take one of these turrets. I would be rather surprised if Gankstars back off of this at all and do not finish the game here and now.
They are looking for those crystal turrets. Should be able to take them both pretty quickly. It is only 3 seconds on jetpacks, and they will actually the entire SK lineup have just respawned. Gangstar Cerberus gonna try and go for the crystal straight away. There's the blast tremor to stop them. Iraqi's Eye and Techno still pounding away at that crystal. Iraqi's Eye will fall. The crystal will just about get taken out by Techno JJ. 2-1 for Gangstar Cerberus as they manage to take out SK, and they go through to the finals to face up against Snow Tsunami later on. Was it G2? I've actually forgotten who won game 1.
That's okay. It was G2 that took the victory in Series 1. Tisk, so focused on figuring out what to say on these throws. Got what the teams were.
Yeah, well, it was G2 who won it out, and Gangstar Cerberus will face them in the finals a little bit later on. Before that, we have the third place playoff between Snow Tsunami and SK Gaming. Should be a cracker of a match. Speaking of crackers, we're going to hand it over to Wendy, Peter Pan, and Tinkerbell on the desk. Guys, take it away.
Only if I can be Tinkerbell Sona. All right, so
You're my Tinkerbell.
that was definitely a different look for Gankstars again. Find myself using that phrase a lot today, but the team's been kind of bouncing back and forth.
That's right. It's like with this team, it's like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're going to get.
You never know what you're going to get.
Well, and the draft was a lot better.
That's true.
We can start at the kind of core aspect of their issue last game, translate it over to this game, and find that they had just a much better composition to handle with what they were kind of dishing out. I mean, when we see Taka just not being able to really find anything, I mean, there was a couple of times where he had an opportunity to kind of get the lead. He took a camp, but the rotation from Gankstars to stop him from the successful invade,
They got outplayed.
was greater than
Lyra shows up with a heal. Both of them are the 2-on-2. They're equal health. You know, like Taka versus the Sky at this point. Taka has key stacks. Taka gets mid healer. Still loses fight. Like that just shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it
well,
doesn't happen
it's 3
often
versus
either.
2 because of the rotate, though. I mean, I think had the rotate happened earlier from Kestrel, maybe it goes a different way. And she did come and clean up a kill afterwards, but it was 1-for-2 trade.
Yeah, I think it should have been over before any rotation happened, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a Taka, the whole goal is to get him ahead, to try to starve out some of the enemy jungler. If you fall behind at all, or even sometimes come like on par with the other team, you end up not generally in the best position going into the mid to late game, especially up against Samuel, who just, when you jump on him with this Taka, he's just going to drop the Drifting Dart, kite backwards, sustain off of you with an auto attack. Like, there's a lot of stuff you have to cut through. And the build he had, too, wasn't really providing that damage. A lot of times when we talk about going CP, Taka, you get the banner for clear, but then you maybe usually want to rush like a Shatter Glass or something to get the initial kind of damage pumped out.
Yeah.
The Aftershock not really providing enough damage